Now, where are you from?
Savannah, Georgia.
Still living there?
Back and forth.
Back and forth between where?
Between Savannah and Atlanta.
Certain part of Savannah you represent?
Sandfly. That's an area off the south side, and I got people out of Thunderbolt too. But like really, I just rep Savannah as a whole. I don't really rep like a certain side.
Atlanta. You said you go back and forth between Atlanta. Somebody's not familiar with Savannah. How far is Savannah from Atlanta?
Three and a half hours.
And what age were you when you started doing this back and forth?
I started doing it back and forth at like 18, 19. But I used to live in Atlanta when I was going to high school. I went to like North Cobb for 1 year, and then I went back to Savannah, Georgia. So I was already kind of accustomed. And then after high school, I just moved back up here full time. And then like when my mama passed away, I just be back and forth.
What was the reason for coming to Atlanta in the first place and going to school there?
When I was in high school, my mama, she wanted to try something different and get me in another environment, so we moved to Atlanta, but I ain't really adjust to it, so we ended up moving back.
Now, before we get deep in the conversation with school and stuff, because I do want to ask you about that as well, when it came to growing up, what was that like for you, growing up in Savannah? Can you paint that picture for us?
Growing up in Savannah, like it wasn't as bad as it is now, but like growing up, it was cool. I was like I got an older sister, but we so far apart in age. I was like the only child, so I used to just be alone and just listen to music. So that's kind of how I got started in rapping. And then I really wanted to play basketball, but that ain't really work out. So I used to just do music as a hobby, and I used to like excel in like poetry in school. And then one day I just tried it and put out a project in high school, and it kind of got me a big buzz. But I ain't never really wanted to be a rapper though. It's just something that happened, and once I graduated, you know, you trying to figure out what you want to do, if you want to go to college or if you want to rap. Then I just end up rapping.
Why didn't the basketball thing work out?
Grades of the year I was supposed to play, I failed a class, so I ain't play.
What about your height?
My height, yeah, that played a major part too.
Pretty short.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was it a rough upbringing, looking back at yourself, or no?
Nah, it was like half and half. Like I experienced both sides. Like coming up, we was straight. You know what I'm saying? Like my mama, she had a good job at the phone company. My daddy, you know what I'm saying, he did some other stuff I don't want to talk about. But after that, when my parents got divorced, we moved in with my grandma. So that's how I seen another light, you feel me, where you got your own room, you got a walk-in closet. Then when I moved in with my grandma, I got a smaller room. Like moms ain't really buying the Jordans like that no more, so I got to get a job. So like I really know what it's like being on both sides of the fence.
So things got tougher.
Mm-hmm.
How old was that when you had to move in with grandma?
That was like 14, 15.
High school?
Ninth grade.
Freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty tough time to kind of downsize, because this is the time in your life where you're upsizing your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going from a caterpillar, growing from a caterpillar to a butterfly, really, at this point.
It's like basically knowing that like you spoiled and you could get whatever you want, to the point like now, when I ask for them Jordans, I can't get them when I want them. And I feel like I gotta get them, so now I gotta work to do whatever I can. You know what I'm saying? It's still like I'm in that same lifestyle, so it was kind of hard to adjust at first, but what's cool about it put me in perspective of both sides, so I can relate to everything. I know what it's like to have and what it's not, you know what I'm saying, what it's like to struggle, so I know how to survive.
Dealing with the struggle that you just spoke of, what was the bottom point? Roughest point for you dealing with the struggle?
The roughest point?
Yeah. Was there a point when things just got really, really tough?
I wouldn't really say a roughest point. Probably the roughest point I really experienced is when my mama died. That was the toughest time of my life. But I still had like good things come out the situation because around that time I got introduced to Perry Jones, and I had the same management as Diggy Simmons around that time. So when I got introduced to him, that's how I got the major features with Diggy, with Alley Boy, with Dolla. I got introduced to Sean Barron from Atlantic, and I opened up on partial of the Scream tour that year. So
This was after your mom died?
that was after.
We'll discuss how you met that person in the music industry shortly, but in regards to your mom, how did she pass away?
She had liver cancer, and the doctors, they gave her like 6 months to live, but she pretty much gave up. She died in a month. So like that's really a tough time every year because her death anniversary is 4 days after her birthday. So that's kind of crazy, but that's like my motivation though.
Cancer comes in different stages. This was in the final stage when they found it? I think it's 4 stages, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 and 4 being the toughest.
When she found out she had it, that was like 2008. She had a surgery and it went away. And then around 2012, it came back and there was nothing they could do. So once they told her she had 6 months to live, she pretty much gave up. And then she died in like a month or less.
When you say gave up, what do you mean?
Like, I guess she was in the mind frame, like I already know what's about to happen, so she didn't even want to fight it. She just, you know what I'm saying, just tired. So that's kind of my motivation for the music. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, I don't let nothing get me down. I just keep pushing. Just seeing my mama in that worst state, like giving up, like I can't give up. I can't do it.
When they found it come back, did they find it come back too late? Was she not keeping up with things, or maybe the doctor wasn't keeping up with the good prognosis of getting rid of it in the first place?
I'm not even sure how it happened. It was on her liver, and I think it just, when it came back, it just spread to where they couldn't remove it. So once that happened, it was nothing they could really do.
But at first, they thought she had beaten it.
Yeah, at first she had a surgery and they removed the tumor. After they went back to check it again, it came back and it spread.
I guess my question, to be a little more specific, was when they went to check it, do you think they could have checked it and found it earlier before, the doctor said, hey, she's got 6 months to live?
That's how I feel. But you know what I'm saying, you never know. I just feel like they, you know what I'm saying, they got a cure for all that. It just depends on how your money looking.
When she finally did pass, how did you find out the actual day she did go away?
My sister, she texted me that morning and told me she passed. So I was the first person to see my mama before anybody. So that's how I really found out. But it was a lot easier because we were prepared for it. You know, if your parent just dies out the blue, it's a little harder. You're not expecting, but we knew what was gonna happen, even though it still hurt. Like, I already knew what to expect.
Did you, when you, in this preparation, did you guys, I mean, you didn't know exactly what day she was gonna go, so you couldn't really say goodbye, but was there conversations of goodbye and that sort of thing when you say you guys were prepared that?
Like in the last days, my mama had to go to hospice. So my sister, she moved to Savannah for like 2 months. And we used to just take turns every day. We just talk to my mama, I let her know what's going on, you know what I'm saying, try to keep her in spirits. But like around that last week, it just, you know what I'm saying, it just seemed a drastic change.
How did you cope with her death? People cope differently. How did you cope with it?
The music, I just use it as pain release. Cause I feel like I make the best music when I'm going through something. A lot of artists can't go to the studio when they going through something. They use that as an excuse. Like, that's when I really make my best music.
Did you attend the funeral?
Of course.
How tough was that?
It was rough. Cause a lot of people ain't really understand. They try to tell you like you'll be all right. But you know what I'm saying, you still got a parent, so. It's hard to really tell somebody you'll be all right when you know what I'm saying, you still got a mama living, so. And around the holidays, it get rough too, so.
Was that the first funeral you ever attended?
Nah, I've been to funerals since I was little. Like, I'm tired of going to them.
What do you miss the most about your mother? Could be a variety of things, but what's at the top?
Really, the holidays.
You did mention that a second ago.
That what I really miss the most. Because, like, my mama, she was real outgoing. And especially, like, family reunion time and stuff like that, so.
How are holidays now without her? How do you deal? How do you cope?
I don't even really celebrate the holidays no more. Like, when they come, I just look forward to them leaving. Like, I'm really be in the studio. Thanksgiving, I'm in the studio. Christmas, I was in the studio. So that's how I really see it.
What about the rest of the family? Did they kind of treat it the same way too? Was your mom the anchor of your family gatherings type of thing, or?
Yeah, it was so crazy because when my mama died, my grandma got sick and my grandma died right after. I felt like my grandma died of a broken heart. Like, my grandma died like probably 6 months later. Just out the blue.
I was actually gonna get to your grandma in a second, but you kind of beat me to it. And that was your grandma on your mom's side.
Mm-hmm. So she really felt like my child died first. So that kind of hit her hard.
Is there a favorite memory you have of your mother? Something you can share?
Yeah, Sweet Auburn Festival. I performed 1 year, and that was the first time she saw me live. And she was the loudest person in the crowd. That was probably my favorite moment.
That was in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
What was her feedback to your performance?
Like, she didn't really know that I could really rap. You know, a lot of people say, like, I could rap, but, like, she didn't really know that I really could do that.
Somebody watching this, let's say they're going through the death of a parent, maybe their mom specifically. Do you have any advice? Because circumstances could be different for everybody, but do you have any general advice on how someone can cope with the death of a parent?
Pray. That's all you can do. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody grieve different. Like, my sister, I ain't even see my sister cry when my mama died. Like, she was just that strong, but she broke down like later. Like, she broke down hard.
You spoke about in this piece how, music is your way of release, especially during the holidays. That's how you cope and deal with the holidays, as you're in the studio making music. But did the death of your mom change the direction of your music?
Nah, it just made me go harder. That's all it really did, because my mama was really my motivation to get into music. Because we came from a situation where we had a big house. We moved in with my grandma to a smaller house. So that was my mama, she just wanted me to buy her a house if I blew up. So that's still what I'm going to do. When I get a deal, I'm going to just buy the house. Just because.
Now, have you made a song about her yet?
Yeah, I dropped one on project about 2 years ago called Just Want to Make My Mama Proud. I got a good response to it.
How tough was that making that record?
It was rough. I had to be in the studio by myself, record it by myself, get a wireless mouse, and do it by myself.
Bring you to tears, the record?
Just about. But I got my mama tatted on my arm, portrait of her. Last picture she took, I got it tatted on my arm.
Mm. What do you think she would think of you at this point in your career?
She probably wouldn't be too happy about the profanity. But she, you know what I'm saying, the moves I made, she'd be happy.
Speaking of moves, explain how you met this music industry exec at shortly after the death of your mom. Then this was after the death of your grandma too?
This was after the death of my mom, before my grandma died. And so I had a mutual friend. She considered me like her little brother. She was dating Diggy Simmons' manager, so I kind of got put in the equation. And I got introduced to Sean Barron from Atlantic. I had a meeting with him, and once he heard the music, I had a song called "What's Up With Me," And I was trying to get Alley Boy on it because he was the one that signed Alley Boy and Diggy Simmons. And when Alley Boy jumped on it, Diggy Simmons heard it. He ended up jumping on it. And he A&R my mixtape Levi at the time. And when he heard Levi, he said I was missing a female record. So then he sent me a feature from Dolla. I didn't even know who he was. And then after that, I did a record with Gucci Mane, and then recently I did one with Project Pet.
Now, what happened since that whole situation?
It ain't really work out. We cool, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing on my part, but it ain't really work out.
Did it have anything to do with maybe the relationship of your sister and your...
Yeah. Once they ain't work, I saw like a difference. Cause when I first came around, I was doing shows, and I was talking to them regularly. And when that situation ain't work, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the one to be calling and blowing up somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't never want to be on the other end feeling like I'm begging. So I kind of just fell back. But it wasn't no bad blood. It wasn't nothing I did.
But it fizzled out on its own.
Yeah.
Now, how old were you when your mom passed? Can you remind me again?
My mom died, I was like 22, 23.
Okay, so you're out of high school at this point.
Yeah.
And you had already been to Atlanta.
Yeah, already.
Back and forth.
But mainly back and forth because she was sick.
Oh.
So that was the main reason why I'm back and forth.
I see. So if you could have it your way, if she wasn't sick, you'd probably be living in Atlanta full time.
Yeah, full time.
Now, going back to your schooling, as a kid, what kind of kid were you in class, generally speaking?
Always laid back and quiet, but around the time I got to high school, I got more social. So I was always the one, I'd be doing my work, I'd be talking, but I have it done. You probably wouldn't have yours done, but I have mine done. I'd still be talking to you.
Even with an outgoing mom, you were the chilled, laid-back, quiet kid?
Yeah, my sister, she more the outgoing person. I'm more the laid-back. I'm more observant. When I get around you, I might not say nothing just to kind of feel you out. And once I see what type of person you are, then we can have a conversation. But I'm more laid-back.
That can pose to be a problem among men, specifically. Maybe somebody sees you're not talking to them or speaking, they can think you're thinking something else, and it could be problematic, no?
Yeah, it could go both ways. But I go off vibes. I could be in a room and I could tell if I'm gonna like you or not, if I'm gonna really fuck with you. So that's how I sit. I just sit back and just peep the situation, to peep the scenery, see what's going on.
You were rapping while you were in school?
I started rapping towards the end of school, but just as a hobby.
You were still trying to do the basketball thing, and
I wanted to do basketball, but I guess that wasn't my calling. So once I ain't make the team that year, I just started going home listening to rap more and just writing. But once I got out of school, then I got more serious about the music.
While you were in school, though, did you battle other classmates? Were you into that sort of thing?
I was never really into the battle rap.
What about talent shows? Ever tried any of them?
I was supposed to do a talent show when I was going to school in Atlanta, but when I auditioned and I made it, we ended up moving back to Savannah, so I never could do it.
Never did pep rallies? Performed at pep rallies?
When I was out of school, I did pep rallies, but never when I was in school. Performed at a middle school and a couple of high schools.
You graduated high school?
Yeah, I graduated.
And then after high school was over, was there any thoughts on furthering the education?
I tried college for a year or two, and I really ain't had the patience for it. But I went online. I didn't really go to the campus physically.
Online classes?
Yeah, I took online classes.
Where?
I went to the University of Phoenix, And then I went to another school, University of Columbia.
Why 2 different schools for the online classes?
Because I took up one major with computer engineering, and then when I went back to school, I did the business management. So,
when you went back to school, can you give me some more clarification on that?
because when I went to school the first time, then I got heavy into rapping, and then once I got to the point where I wanted rapping, and I wanted to, you know what I'm saying, learn more about business, then I went back to school. But I just didn't finish. I did like 2 years. I had a 4-year program. I finished like 2 years of it.
Did you at least get the associate's, the associate's degree? The 2-year degree?
I ain't get no degree. But I'm going to go back and finish it, though. I just got my mind set on rap right now.
The first 2 years in college are more so general classes before you do something specific, like a major, and your last 2 years are classes geared towards your major, I guess. Mm-hmm. When it came to, so when you went back to school the second time, you physically went to school, or was it online classes as well?
No, I did online.
Online both times?
On both times.
How was the experience at both? Because there's maybe somebody watching this thinking of University of Phoenix for online classes, or the other school you mentioned.
I think I should have went to school.
Physically. Why you say that?
Because when you online, like, you on your own schedule. So certain days I might have been like, I'm just going to check in and I'm just going to do what I got to do. I do it later.
Self-discipline, that's tough for some people.
Definitely.
When it came to paying for it, did you have any sort of scholarship for it, or was everything out of pocket or financial aid?
I had a couple grants.
Grants?
And then financial aid. But I recommend anybody going to school. Like, if you can afford it, just pay for it. Because you're going to pay in the end.
Explain.
Like, taking out them loans, you going to see on your credit. You don't want to do that.
What about FAFSA? Were you able to get that at all, or no?
Yeah.
Now, aside from you having, or I guess lack of self-discipline and wanting to go to a physical campus, how were those online schools, though? Overall, do they fit their reputation? Do they equal to their reputation, or?
I guess. I don't really know. I ain't really had the, you know what I'm saying, the patience.
When you dropped out the first time, what did your mom think?
She was mad about that. She was mad. That's when the rap really came into play. Like what you gonna do with your life? So after that, then I met like the biggest artist in my city at the time, Booger. Rest in peace to him. Like he discovered me on MySpace and invited me to his house. So once I went there and we kind of sat down and we collabed, and he put me under his wings, but then he ended up unfortunately getting killed in a home invasion. So once that happened, he was up under Screw. That's how I got with Hella Flow. So he just kept me around, just on some being loyal to him. He ain't even hear my music. He just signed me on the strength of, if he fucking with you, then I'm fucking with you.
And Hella Flow's tied to Jeezy.
Yeah, affiliated.
At the time.
At the time.
Now, when your mom passed away, you had already done the first online thing and quit. And when your mom passed away, then you went through the Atlantic door, and then that didn't work out. Is that when you went back to school for the second time?
Yeah, that's when I went back. Like, I'm gonna try something like to fall back, but then I got back on the rap.